Hello, species value nature system. Hello, Stephen Colbert, John Stewart. That's not honest comment. In other words, the police of WFSB, retired and standing executive council or whatever, associated interbranch sources with CBS, recorded criminally foreign influence, associated with other CT media, associated with Weathersfield Parks and schools, and with a principal sex offender, and with them with crimes against mandate, calling allegations that are recorded true, and calling them allegations by making pretending things are recorded with police forms, like with two Mendez brothers, interbranch recorded with crimes with female judges, with sex offenders, and with other judges switching names with them, and switching sequences with them, interstate too. This is also tied to New York organized crime, where originally and still they had areas and states in collusion with what really was slavery uses against the fact treatment nature of interbranch states and areas, voices, and of presidents, chiefs distinctly and non-distinctly. That's how and why they killed, before killing Abraham Lincoln and uh, President Kennedy. They were all recorded with not letting free speech demonstrate the conspiracies against our country, which are recorded. Not even conspiracy. They have conspiracy theories as doctors who are police formed states and areas, recorded with uncharged crime rolls with New York City, with what is people stacking, with what is a crime methods, even on apartments, intercity, interbranch actors, the state judicial branch offices, record and confess CBS with crimes with the Fienzo family. Also recorded and confessed involved with crimes with the Dillon family, associated with child offenders already proven, and the principal sex offender with retired and standing interbranch police forms in my area, and all tied to them. And with doctors, there's a Leahy family, and there's a Phil Clough recorded and confessed with the rest of the child sex offenders, with the houses next to the schools too, connected, and with like a Dr. Graham and other doctors, I don't know the name of those stuff, recorded and confessed with crimes with principal sex offender, and with the media with this, and with the courts, with little trick facts too. Um, and all kinds of tricks recorded, and nature's ill as criminal insidiousness nature in relationship to predicate acts, like them having attached me to fake conversations with this Leahy family, and them having with the courts that pretended they knew me through time, spread rumors about me. They know they have no integrity. Now we need something in paper. You see what I'm saying? We have election crime rolls at the areas, the states level, record in methods recorded, crime methods, even with tricks with the wires when you're going to call up, because the way that we have like Russian families juxtaposed with the Connecticut interbranch police that have crime rolls with ones associated with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and proven his co-defendants tied to him in a proven sequence shift from the Trade Center attack context in the Ninth Circuit in Manhattan. And then that proven after the fact led up to a 2006 case. Before that, I had been I recorded a pattern of trying to counter what I understood, because it was already confessed and recorded from people from my town associated with it in New Britain. A bunch of people from CCSU on off campus confessed and recorded. They were directed to spread lies about me by interbranch police, because they have also crime rolls with criminal justice and with like undercover associations with CCSU intercity, like on off campuses, police relationships with interdepartments, with all kinds of overt drug crimes with kids, medical drug crimes with kids, identity thefts with databases, crime methods with that, to the motivations of it. There is a Joe Aiello sought me out as an adult to confess and record and demonstrate that he has a former Mayor Gold also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with crimes with Griswold Street and with fire departments and with police forms intercity and on-off campuses with Trinity College used for predicate acts by interbranch police and by military police and by foreign ones and families. Facilitated to this that way, keeping every per method recorded, keeping fact sheet natures needing to be coached to roles with fake news and with interbranch actors with crime methods recorded, preventing people from free speech to counter their recorded roles through time with child sex offenders. The reason that people are not being allowed to report crime acts is because they're hiding lie progressions that they're needing to hurt each age of fact sheet nature, correlation nature. They're recorded and confessed and demonstrated having directed fake sides of issues through time when I was a kid. In other words, they they can have this conversation and pretend passions on paper. They have narratives pretending that politics are what they aren't. In other words, that's not comedy pretending that it cares about politics, and it's not honestly against Trump. When you see those marches in New York City, when they're trying to pretend they care for the immigrants, that's to keep the narrative too vile to demonstrate recorded states and areas, psychology police, interbranch especially, and doctors with them, and all associated with that, like fire departments, drug cliques, interbranch, and juxtaposed with overt criminal enterprises with recorded tied crime acts. Not just the sequence shift proven in the Ninth Circuit with the federal criminals who were the co-defendant in the part of the case in 2006. See, leading up to that case, there were people who recorded and confessed crimes with interbranch police, intercampus, on-off campuses, with CCSU, with Trinity College, with interbranch, and that's also tied to Megan Kelly recorded and confessed involved with the Russians, involved with Hartford Hospital Criminal League, recorded, involved with the Samuel Dix house, with Tom Peruta, that Justin Klavinskis and his wife recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved crime roles with the rest of the fire departments criminally involved with the child offenders, recorded with identity thefts. There are two Domain brothers also with the two Mendez brothers with the recorded intercity, and the two Mendez brothers in or out of court crimes with child sex offenders, and with roles with that, with the police, with the court. One told my mother when I was still trying to report, which they're still not letting me do because there were more tied to the principal sex offender recorded since before that. I started trying to tell about crime acts tied to that before I got to their rape threats, which came before that, and I received confessions and recorded sequence shifts by the police who lied about how a principal involved with the rape threats against his students recorded and confessed. See, we have interbranch families associated with the schools and medical families associated with the schools, needed to hide lie progressions, and needed to hurt people per their roles with investigators who are also doctors who've been using the phenomenon of being able to stack databases with faked arresting officers in courts and on campuses. We have identity theft crime rules with criminal justice with CCSU recorded and confessed. Involved also with houses on Church Street in Old Weathersfield, the corner of that street. And Facebook is being used through time to block people's voices and to steal them. There's an Anthony Agman and Joshua Julian was recorded with crime acts, roles, and acts on the Facebook page of Weathersfield High School with the principal sex offender when they were still recorded forcing that sustained with rape threats and lying to the police about me. They also lied with allegations about how and why I raised my voice because they scared women, intercity, and kids not to say anything through time. Per torture methods also recorded against the women, with the police forging, switching names, pretending to care for the women. In other words, we have sick people with elderly homes as the same child sex offender cliques. With my new and previous neighbors recorded and confessed involved with the Dillon family and the rest of the child sex offenders associated with them already, and the ones still recorded with the crimes with this Mendez brothers that I never had a class with. They had real brief moments where they confirmed recorded crime acts roles with identity theft cliques with middle school, further recorded and confessed with like Dr. Graham or with other male and female doctors, recorded and confessed with predicate acts further, and identity theft acts, fake conversations with people, physical delusions in their mind with the rest of the child sex offenders, with their roles with criminal justice, speaking with courts, because we have retired and standing judges and their state offices and their uses of cases and the hallways of courts and the regular inside of courts criminally recorded. And they're pretending other because they need to. They need to pretend hate. They need everyone, each age of fact cheating nature raised, missing how their database solutions stacking against everyone, how they're sabotaging people's education, how they're coordinating, motivated on off campuses, facilitated, coordinated by interest and motivations through everybody that are ulterior from everybody. No one's understanding. Everyone's being raised not to think. Having our identity stolen. And see, they need to pretend they don't understand things because, that's what they're having. Each age of fact cheating nature raised as victim predators as group thing. Note that word group thing, because this was through time. This was their crime roles there and here as fake sides. Because we have Russians with criminal justice agreements and processes where they have the Constitution abridged this way. And per crime methods not laid hold on. That's why they're real motivations for the men and women behind the rest of the men, child sex offenders. Even if they, what do they call it? We have to deal with acts, child sex offender acts, using the Facebook page of New Britain Superior Court, even. And then hiding that with crime acts, fake arresting officer, fake arrests, fake falsified police reports and databases. After other tortures where they were recorded switching names, forging names. With the real estate crimes, identity theft cliques, with Lena's Pizza recorded and confessed involved, with her previous boyfriends and her new husband involved with identity thefts, with switching with Alicia recorded and confessed involved with crimes with one of her previous boyfriends associated with Professor Phillips and a Detective Samuda who pretended he arrested me. Involved with a whole bunch of other falsified police reports into databases through time. And these are interbranch cliques recorded and confessed and further demonstrated involved, having been involved with telling slanders about me through time, using their kids, pretending they're you know, they're not even just looking out for their kids, trying to get them over on everyone else. They're trying to hide life. They need to hide life progressions. They need to hide their actually recorded nature. There's a Christine Tardet, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with John Mayano and with interbranch retired and standing and the policing of the schools and doctors with the schools when I was a kid in high school. And with the family members of the judges criminally involved with identity thefts with her and with them. This is her with a fake news article, fake relationship. They pretend I had a doctorate in a mental diagnosis as a kid that I never had. These are people also reported with their family members associated with Trinity College through time, with policing of CCSU through time, other criminal justice schools, other interbranch actors lifted like that with crimes uses of their kids. Paul Zano recorded and confessed involved with Wethersfield police crimes, Rock Hill police crimes. When he was a kid, now demonstrated as an adult by people tied to him. I never had anything to do with them. The only exceptions recorded and confessed involved their roles with interstate Rhode Island, Connecticut, and with Stephen Stockwell and his wife and her other boyfriends with CCSU crimes with people down the street from them as the state judicial branch office, Wethersfield Pizza, where she grew up, and her neighbors recorded and confessed. I never had anything to do with her when she was in high school. After she graduated high school, she made confessions to me about with others that were like, I didn't understand that, and I understand now. And I tried to tell about that, but these are fact cheap in nature rackets. They're starting fights. What's his name? Brian Bonin also recorded and confessed involved by the Fienza with the rest of the police involved criminally with Rocky Hill. Arch Pizza, they recorded and confessed, they said was involved criminally with them. And with another guy I don't know the name of, associated with people associated with a Taekwondo place near the Wethersfield Police Department, also recorded and confessed involved criminally through time, like with DeMorrow Brothers, DeMorrow's Market in Rocky Hill, also recorded and confessed involved with the crimes with the CCSU clerks through time. See, and that's also with men and women involved with the child offenders with CCSU and predicate acts recorded involved. So, and this is with WFSB predicate acts, identity theft acts recorded. They're recorded with crime methods pretending these are allegations. That by hiding the judges' names, by hiding them, by switching them. That's how they do that and pretend not to realize that. Switching them and switching sequences. See, these are recorded Connecticut courts used for crimes tied to the proven sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit. Also, Wethersfield police recorded and confessed predicate act roles and identity theft roles with a Scalora family that also intercity people through time recorded and confessed crime roles with, like making statements to me about that and stuff like that. See, people don't have sensibilities where you could have it, so you just let people say whatever. And then they say, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. Well, follow the mandated law. You know what I'm saying? The courts are preventing this because they were raised criminally foreign influence. That's why I have streams of courts into courts each day. We have victim predators. That's why we have so many shootings. What they said, already like 80 shootings on the record in Hartford this year. 1 year, going 300 streets. You know, they have meetings and used to. They know they're recorded criminal serious nature, fake positive nature, pseudo positive natures, criminally exploiting exceptions, preventing free speech, because we have what maintain that originally still all victim predator roles with overt criminal enterprises with other nations shared policing of our job sites that those are with rackets, especially with psychology, tied to New York City, tied to programs with kids, and doctors and police forms and judges with kids that reported physical delusions in regarding the Civil War, regarding morality, regarding reality, regarding their own personal physical delusions and criminal foreign influences recorded. Those are not. See, we have Oz because we have the jobs of states and areas in collusion with other nations, keeping that states and areas fighting to pretend pseudo-positive, criminal seriousness nature positive is other against presidents, forcing them to entertain what they're pretending is theater, but is not theater. It was recorded, not theater. So I mean, Colbert, would invite you to sue your network for lying to you and for using you to pretend theater. It's not even funny. How is that funny? You have fake. You have Jon Stewart and teach everyone to fake care, so you swear and pretend like you're like that's there's no then you put the sign up to tell everyone to clap. Meanwhile, Facebook, if you don't have Facebook, you can't report you can't respond to media articles. And when you try to report the things that would prevent the further shootings and stuff like that, instead they'll block your voice and steal it. They'll steal your identity, the news itself, and their police, and their roles with the policing of Facebook, reported and confessed involved with the interbranch rape threats on Facebook, and then hid with and as crimes with the principal sex offender, and with and as interbranch families with their kids with that school and with other schools, and with my name in their sick heads. They're recorded sick heads. Now we need a response. See, Renaissance. You see what I'm saying? We need it hurt fast. We need to fix the fake news. You need to get this Anthony Agnew. He's also reported confessed involved with crimes with the Leahy family and with the Mendez brothers and with the extended family members of Ray Colbert, like a Phil Colbert, reported confessed involved by a Bob Chase involved with crimes with forensics people in a state forensics prison place, associated with doctors involved with crimes with their sex offenders and other natures of criminals before they were even in there, and with the Facebook rape threats and shit and stuff like that. We have pseudo positive. What do you think? Vaccine. So let's go returns. Also, they're recorded and confessed for crimes with interstate, with boxing. See, by pretending not to realize that the news is faking news, and with interbranch predators, using courts to prevent counters to the interbranch forced rape threat rolls with kids and with prison cliques tied to them after they were already with interages of each campus crimes. And with CCSU, there was like a crime method where they would have once in a while, they would have to, you could call to the office or something. Then I would go into the cafeteria. And they knew I was going to come from this direction. So they would have someone say something per method that makes you not know the names of other people. And they're furthering the people that already had their parents associated with the campuses and like with criminal justice in the branches, and fake integrity with that originally and still. That's why. See, to bring relief, forget about just reparations, which is one part of it. There are healthcare impositions active, tortures upon the people of New York City See, and these are being exploited because the New York City was engineered by slavery. That was criminal foreign influences, tactically denatured relationship to nature, specifically to cause negative value nature progressions, to have them blamed on other and others and all other things, boxing. They didn't just do this to, if they wanted to kill the Native Americans, they wanted to keep everybody fake sides, maintain breaching front tools, their own army. You see what I'm saying? New York City has criminally foreign influenced, maintained opinionators, tactically pseudo-educated. Now, they need to pretend that math means what it doesn't here, and they need to pretend sensibilities that are exploiting crowds with signs told to clap and stuff like that in relationship to only let received sensibilities with and as criminal insidious nature, fake positives. Nature is needed to hide into hurt correlation nature, needed to exploit exceptions being set up, like for the alley-oop. They set that up. But this is a crime method that maintained originally and still everyone, victim predators, individually, together, group, sequentially and progressively, consciously, maintaining everybody, blaming the real causes of negative value nature progression is an action other with that, per what is the value of pretending to be about comedy when all you're doing is swear, and you have fake premises treatments. You have premises treatments with physical delusions and with criminal foreign influences, like those with, what's his name, the comedian you guys recorded and involved with your crimes, CBS, Jon Stewart. So they have people being told to hate on others with fake premises. In other words, with criminally foreign influence private premises, because the FBI too had crime rolls with that election against each candidate, and they're doing it because they're still going into elections when they're recorded knowing they don't have integrity. They're quoting precedents that they are recorded knowing is criminally foreign influenced, and or they have physical delusions, and they have recorded criminal foreign influences. Each of the branches, because they were raised victim predator roles. You have to be a psycho to not see and understand that how what was forced to be the states and areas pathology of infrastructure within as home styles before they even had cars, forced for the tactically denatured relationship to areas, worse than witch trial laws, as the slavery laws, which slavery is greater and more finite and active organized crime method that still is never let counters. See, we need reliefs for this, which is a word. I'm not a police form, not a criminal. Reliefs, injunctive reliefs. In other words, we have Hartford, Connecticut never had legal representation. This is also Connecticut interbranch leaders of all levels reported with worse than physical delusions and ill natures, also needing to pretend they care against the party game. The parties, so we have everyone lifted, told not to think in grammar school, where they're recorded, like with a Joshua Julian. I never had a class with him. He's recorded, confessed involved with my neighbors, extended family members, and himself, and others with identity theft roles through time. And I've been trying to report this. I'm not saying they weren't raised as victim predators, which is part of it too. I had to write a complaint against a Judge Smith when I was a kid, involved with New Britain Superior Court. I didn't even get to the rest of what they did because they never let any fact treatments but through a method, whether with physical delusions and nothing in writing, because then you could just write, oh, this is how they directed fake sides. In other words, Jeremy Grohl, nice person. I don't know. He was a kid. He was a victim predator of interbranch people associated with criminal justice programs, intercity, and with a suburb Bajaria. These are also people who recorded confessed with crimes with the Joe DeMoro brothers and cousins, intercity and with CCSU, with interdepartmentally, with database crime rules and uses of them, and then with conversations tied to that, and investigators on and off campuses, and with NASDAR roles with crimes with the Scalora family, recorded and confessed with crimes with the Trade Center context right before the attack. Then that proven sequence shift in the Ninth Circuit, Manhattan, also shut down because it's right there with the Trade Center. And there were crime rules with so whatever. I don't like talking about crimes, but I don't like, in other words, we have sick branches. I don't want to charge anybody. In other words, but that's what they have this the Dylan guy with the new and past neighbors recording and confessed involved with child offenders further. Now I told my mother to call the police. These 3 months after my father's death, and with stuff before that, I was trying to report. No one's letting me report it. These are also crimes against the kids of the people that try to run for offices. Recorded and confessed. Their roles with the child sex offenders used for that. Because then we have police that pretend to stuff and that they pretend to hate, they pretend to be against people in the background's too long. That's what John Stewart's doing. Dishonestly, too, because WFSB had Trade Center predicate acts crime rules with their other crime rules, hiding lie progressions tied to that with the recorded crime rules with clicks recorded criminally involved with the federal criminals who were the co-defendants of Robert Luskin and one of the tied cases, like in Connecticut. With the courts, with their police recorded involved with crimes leading up to those cases, in one sense tied with stacking fake arrests in the database, stacking illusions in the databases, tied to their crimes with WFSBs and with NBC, in other words, and Fox CT with their Facebook pages, with their interpretations of recorded facts, pretending they're allegations. See, now these are people pretending that when we have news faking things at the same time. So they're involved with a whole bunch of natures of crime at once, and a whole bunch of natures of people with that, because we have doctors like with the Leahy family, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with many with New Britain Superior Court through time, with Hartford Superior Court through time, with depositions through time used criminally, with criminal cases used criminally to make fake sides of issues, like with an Alicia recorded and confessed with a number of other girls with the name Alicia, with New York and CCSU crimes with the Trade Center criminals further. And these were our investigators who attached me to fake, and a Leahy family and other doctors tied to them attached me to fake, because when I tried to report the recorded police crime acts, I caught them dead cold, because first I did it intercity and through time, trying to report crime acts, and then watching how they lie about that. And then they invest themselves further and further, needing to lie progressions. So now they can't respond on paper. So now they need to use Facebook further and further, directing this Aiello person tied to the doctors into the courts criminally, into these Mendez brothers, recorded pretending they put the name of police equipment and they put fake quotes with the child sex offenders, with their identity theft crime acts roles, with their crime roles with the policing of the campuses retired and standing, already criminally involved from when I was a kid. So they should have asked me questions about when I recorded about the drug dealers next to the school, that with the identity thefts and with the confessions to me out of nowhere, like Fred Rose. Also recorded and confessed that Rick's son Faglione and his family recorded and confessed involved with crimes with an O'Brien family and with a Leahy family, is associated with nurses and stuff and their families in my town through time. Victim predators. I don't know if they're predator with what, because they don't, in other words, it was implied that they use them for one of the narratives. They also have their neighbors, the house directly across the street from Ray Clough, also recorded and confessed involved with crimes with the O'Brien family. Also recorded and confessed with and has crime roles with child sex offenders with Sandy Hook investigators in the and with their roles with the prison up there, and with doctors recorded and confessed with crime roles, identity thefts and shit and stuff like that with the child principal sex offender before he was there, with their roles with online rape threats, with their roles with recorded physical delusions, recorded criminal insidious natures in relationship to predicate acts, like male crimes. Also reported, confessed, involved with an Aiello family and with my new and past neighbors with crimes with CCSU on and off campuses and with people in that area. I didn't know they were associated with the area till after I tried to report that, and I have been. They used that they heard. No, what I told them about. I couldn't tell her why. I wanted her to call the police. It was 3 months after my father died. You know, she said. I gave her a little bit of time because the Dillon family recorded, confessed, involved before I did that. She didn't want to do it because I didn't tell her why, because the Dillon families recorded with various natures of real estate crimes that were with the also recorded roles to make investigations draw out where they make the wrong conclusions and where they pretend to misperceive things on purpose. In other words, the Dillon family also recorded and confessed involved with the Lena's Pizza, recorded and confessed involved with various real estate companies criminally involved, and with that Lena's Pizza with the child sex offenders further, and with doctors, foreign and domestic, with police forms foreign and domestic, with overt criminal enterprises foreign and domestic, with their roles with crimes with them, with undercover juxtaposed. And then they use that as a crime method of pretending they're just hiding undercover. But in other words, they're not just doing that, because if they were trying to do that, they wouldn't be with online offensive rape threats. See, so we have many others with the names recorded and stuff like that with confessed involved criminally with CCSU through time. With the acting department, other department, the English department. There was a Heitner, Jack Heitner, recorded and confessed involved with crimes of people associated with criminal enterprise, like an Italian game, criminally involved with a Sam and other people associated with them criminally with that. With that was also where we had the police forms recorded and confessed involved with crimes, also with Latin gangs, like Los Solitos and stuff like that, with the cliques, with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, that the stranger, the Faenza cousins, and women tied to them recorded and confessed about crimes with their neighbors involved with that, and with the Dillon police and military family involved criminally. We have criminally foreign influenced military fakes. You know how many people we have in the military? like a Klotz family also recorded and confessed involved with multiple people criminally involved and their neighbors. Former the family of a former partner of a Dylan guy also recorded and confessed involved with that criminally with 2 speech classes I had in high school. Also recorded and confessed criminally involved with why I had to take the speech class again was criminally involved with both those teachers recorded and confessed involved with crimes with the Dillon family, associated with my new and past neighbor. These are also people crimes with the cliques with the retirement homes. See, we have systemic probate court corruption. Also, the Della Fair family recorded and confessed by the media and by their family involved with crimes with judges in their family and or associated with their family criminally, with drugs with the kids, all kind of drug crimes, doctor drug crimes, crimes with overt gangland drugs, their roles with crimes with gambling with the kids, their roles with identity thefts, being directed to yell out things, make it look like they know people they don't know after they recorded and confessed involved with crimes with my recorded video presentation for health class, also recorded and confessed involved. They said a Delafair girl with WTNH is involved with their crime roles. They don't want to fix it, so they, in other words, they're delaying the news and they're sequence shifting, and they had her involved with a story about pumpkins put in the bathrooms of Weathersfield High School. And see, these are families involved with criminal justice, with men and women, also involved with fire departments, criminally involved with the Russians, and with a whole bunch of other nations, with like the Italian family that is the extended family of Chief from our town, Cintron, John Maiano, and others recorded and confessed him involved, and his daughter involved criminally with him, and with he's recorded criminally involved with a Christine Tardet, with fake news, pretend I had a doctor as a kid, pretend I had mental diagnosis as a kid and as an adult. As a kid, I didn't have it. They didn't even. The only reason I was in the presence of a Leahy family, who I brushed off because they were demonstrating involved with the child sex offenders associated with recorded tied to the Dillon family too. In the Hartford, they force people for mental evaluations. They consciously recorded, pretending that means what it doesn't, because they attach people to fake conversations. Then they don't let they switch names rather than have a response. They have Renaissance. See, we have more child offenders. There's also a Justin Klovinskis and his wife involved with the military police families involved criminally. His neighbors, they recorded, confessed, involved criminally, like Greg Monday. I don't know Greg Monday. I tried to communicate with him online, but they also use Facebook. They have people write things, and then they pretend to believe it. As evident, like they had a Kathy Tansey pretend she had a conversation with me about the CIA on Facebook, and with selves Aiello, who lives across the street from one of the Fienza brothers, our cousins, involved criminally with the state judicial branch officers, and with their neighbors with Aiello's kitchen, recorded and confessed, involved with crimes with the Mendez brothers, and with Charlie Bowes. In other words, also recorded and confessed, involved with crimes with Chris Walters, with New Britain Interbranch, and CCSU, with federal criminals undercover and people with criminal justice associated with his mother, and with his brothers criminally with Washington, with identity theft acts, predicate acts, crime roles, crimes with with a Mike Pandoff, also reported and confessed involved crimes, identity thefts with the cliques at Trinity College, CCSU. See. Also, Luigi Guerrero had me go to his college one time. I had like basically no conversation with him. Weird, in other words. And that was also recording the festival with their crimes with the child sex offender cliques, with a Rhode Island school, with a what is it called? And with their roles with making bombs, with having kids make bombs and then getting them in trouble. Other kids, in other words, they're getting the kids into making bombs, and they're also CCSU corruption roles with criminal justice interbranch cliques. Maria Fazina, some Santos, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with undercover CCSU criminal justice rackets, other these cliques, with the Wethersfield police chief's family, with the foreign and domestic Italian families involved with the criminal enterprises, with the drugs with the kids, identity theft roles, crimes at Webb School, and houses next to the schools, and next to the religious places criminally involved. They're also recorded pretending prejudice. For example, pretending religious prejudice, like John Stewart. You know, that's a serious conversation about organized crime, with divided people from the value of our species into the defense of fake identity, and or obfuscating what these religions really are about. You know, that's pseudo religion. When they make convictions about Hitler, they leave out how states and areas Hitler was a victim predator. We had to go to war for the same reason George Washington had to leave slavery entrenched in Connecticut. CT is cherry tree, not oak nor peach. He both did and did not chop down the fake branches. They had slavery in the North, which is inseparable from the narratives with the South, because the North was bringing people into another form of slavery that they knew was designed tactically denatured relationship to nature as means. You know, they're worse than ignoring and exploiting and cultivating, already having had blamed on others and themselves, the negative value nature progressions caused by people stacking in New York. Mass means. Now, everyone needs relying upon food from other places, and that's relied upon negotiations where each nation was negative value, an identity of negative value nature progression together, all modern nations. Needs of Hadiths, fake sides, free speech abridged, the Constitution left abridged. Free speech would be able to demonstrate that color was influenced by a criminal foreign influences, entrenched crime method here since before our founders' births. See, we have that obfuscate when someone brings up criminal foreign influences, someone will jump up and say, "Well, that's prejudice, foreign," like a fake positive nature. They don't. If they cared, if they had passion like that, then they would. That would be discovered by now. In other words, we have perpetually that they're pretending that they believe that politics should mean that what it doesn't, because we have victim predators raised not to think and raised as with evidence crime roles with and as the kids of, and the kids juxtaposed with the kids of interbranch families, intermilitary, especially with medical police families. And you see these are recorded foreign and domestic juxtaposed. Pakistan, Italian, families, German, other natures, Asian, Stop and Shop involved criminally with the policing of it. So we have shared policing of our stores, even, foreign and domestic, because these are shared international markets, commodities, what I'm saying? A value nature system that is tactically ulterior from the value nature system that makes us hunger and thirst. That is science. See, we have mandated law not let per rackets with news pretending that recorded facts are allegations, and they know this because they attach me to fake. They hid recorded crime rolls and uses of a Christine Tardet when she was in high school, and with drug clicks associated with her, and with crimes with Yukon also, with John Mayano recorded and confessed, involved with the he also involved with crimes with the San Juan Senator Sammy Vega, involved with CCSU criminally, with the people associated criminally with Garden Street, all the shootings there through time. Involved criminally with the rest of the Puerto Rican overt criminal enterprises, recorded and confessed, involved with crimes with the prison sex offenders cliques, with the doctors, with the drugs with these gangs. See, these are their patients too. And these are their patients in jail, like the principal sex offender. That doctor was recorded online with sex crime max rolls with that principal sex offender before he was caught. The doctor in Sandy Hook know. The O'Brien family know. Recorded and confessed, involved with crimes with the Britain Superior Court through time. Clicks. With crimes with rolls with them. And with the new neighbors, because they were preventing mandated law, because I caught them dead cold to rights. So they lied about hearing me raise my voice, which is all they could tell. So they had to make up things with that. You see what I'm saying? Because if they tried to address me about why I raised my voice, the recorded crowd caught. See, but they have to have no response. See, Renaissance. So they're lying to the attorney generals too, per recorded criminal uses of states' attorneys, with identity thefts, with evidence as crimes, and with confessions and crime rolls with judges retired and standing, and with police with the courts, and with their uses of Facebook for rape threats and for crimes in cases to force sustained the principal sex offender, and their uses of their kids further with that. Like a Silver family, I never had a conversation with him in my life. He's recorded and confessed by people associated with him, involved with the in-court, out-court police and prosecutors involved criminally with the sex offenders further, with the identity thefts, with rackets where they're raising their kids and others to slander people, spread rumors, because those are being used. We have the overt criminal enterprises originally juxtaposed here since before our nation's founding, and that was still entrenched. Our founders didn't want slavery. That's why they put the Constitution, and they told us not to leave it abridged, but it's abridged. See, we have individual rights, which are the most essential first. They have guns to protect themselves, overall and top down. And they appreciate threats and being able to blame them on other things. Because then, they use these are ganglands. In other words, that phrase also recorded and confessed involved with criminal uses of the paper through time, through elections, with the transition from ACA to RICO, Organized Crime Control Act, to Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act. Robert Luskin was the former standing chairperson on RICO law. His crime rolls were recorded, came first, before Comey's, and before the other guys. What was the other guy's name? Director Ray, whatever. The FBI has recorded threatening and torturing people to say nothing about their crime acts roles with these. Also, Trade Center we have branches that pretend they have integrity, they don't. It's one thing to try and need to pretend that you have the credibility and needs to keep a court in line, but they're lying about that. They're using every weapon of state available to hurt, to keep elections criminally foreign influenced, to keep voices stolen, to keep voices. They're starting fights. They're needing us to convict. That and why and how the people who trespass against us. That is them is per them personally. In other words, they're being influenced to this because they're to maintain areas and states in collusion needing to hide lie progressions, finite, active, and progressive. That was what motivated them for the recorded motivations, also recorded with the Trade Center attack, with predicate acts since attaching me and other Trade Center contacts right before the attack. We went home right before the attack. I wasn't in the physical attack. I was in the physical attack context. The Colbert family was recorded with interstate and with worse than interstate crime acts rolls with that. Also with people associated and police forms associated with on and off campus CCSU and other Trinity College criminally involved with them, with identity thefts, attaching me to fake relationships too. And worse, it's tied to Alicia's, girls with the name Alicia, interstate, recorded confessed involved crimes where they make fake sides inside of the Britain Superior Court, and where they were directed not to be, they made repeated confessions about that and their crimes. Also with Lena's Pizza, with the girls that share boyfriends, and and with the new husband, Aiello Sullivan is also recorded and confessed involved with identity thefts and with the courts involved criminally, with the police involved criminally, and with the undercover. So they're threatening me not to say anything because they're pretending that under their roles were undercover and with CCSU on off campuses rackets and other campuses criminally involved are going to be sufficient to sustain them with roles with this. Because when I was in sixth grade, that place was also recorded and confessed involved by people criminally involved now that I don't even know the names of, associated criminally involved with the people. See, the body dumping of Billy Grasso, that spot is associated criminally with the Faenza family, is involved criminally with the state judicial branch offices, and with the sex offenders, with the courts further involved, with the principal sex offenders. This is why they weren't letting through time sex offenders demonstrated. A Perone family also recorded and confessed crimes with military police families and with tricks with Wethersfield Park through time, with a Perone family and DMV police, Department of Transportation police too, and their roles with CCSU criminality and untimely deaths with those cliques and uses of those untimely deaths for their crime roles, other cases, other crime methods and natures of crime involved criminally, like Megan Kelly's involvements with Trinity College, involved with the predicate acts cliques, with the Trade Center attack, with the identity thefts, with the child sex offender cliques, with the name switching and forging, also with a policeman named Darth Vader, you see. They've slandered force too long. The source will seek its song, Bach sings from rest. Bach springs from rest. I sing it best. Believe, don't disbelieve. So all kinds of recorded and distortion. So if you tell them you want to do one nature of industry, boom, they're going to pretend it's like. In other words, they're also moderating what artists can say because they're attaching us to fake conversations and with a seriousness, with it, then they pretend seriousness in courts where they're not serious. They're sick predators. And then they go laugh about it because that's how they pretend that they didn't realize that they're sick predators. They know that they're sick predators. That's why we have states in the area. That's why we have so many shootings in Hartford, Connecticut. There's also, they have New Britain High School, recording confessed involved with crimes against the family of and the person of a Tabucky Jones, but like a football player. But this is also per methods maintaining him as a roles, as a tool for the same against others. See, everyone's blaming on our own nature, the nature of areas, which and states that are maintained criminally for an influence, sick courts, sick fact-tripping nature, no legal representation, other pretended. WFSB admits to torturing people. This is with their crime rolls with the Trade Center again. Remember, torture was brought up, and this is where they're admitting to fact-cheating nature torture, torturing people, not to mention their forced sustained, the recorded roles forcing sustained child sex offender acts and manipulations of families per interbranch actors recorded, forging names, switching names with tortures as torture method, with crimes in cases, as the one proven in the Ninth Circuit. See, this is with the federal criminals who were co-defendants of former director of the FBI, recorded and confessed with crimes with kids in my grade when I was growing up, in my schools when I was growing up, that were connected. There was crimes with interbranch actors associated with the middle school and with a Neville, and that was associated with crimes with the people involved with the principal sex offenders grammar school. That is recorded and confessed involved with further as a Leahy family and other men and women associated with them with medical corruption associated with that school. See, we have some bad people with psychology degrees and with roles with off the records but recorded crime methods, obfuscating people's education. Worse, because it's on and off campuses facilitated. They're putting behavioral interpretations of people's behavior that are moderated by on and off campuses crime methods, reliant upon that as means to keep raised CCSU with criminal justice roles, crimes against all the students at once. How much money they owe everybody now. They've been lying to girls, torturing girls not to say anything about their abuses of them on and off campuses, pretending that's about criminal justice. There's a bunch of girls and boys when I was a kid that were confessed and recorded involved, with the suburb of Aiello, with the retired and standing judges criminally involved, with the sex offenders, with drug cliques, with the kids, and with foreign and domestic with that. Overt criminal enterprises. See, we have natures of industries where we have shared policing. That is shared policing that all reverts to experts to think for them. And that's with psychology, where we have Russian families associated with Hartford Hospital, repeated, confessed. Never had a conversation with them. Besides that, they're in other words, whatever they wrote, lies. In other words, they just make it repeated confessions Then they use that time to pretend you have conversations with these people. You see what I'm saying? Because they use be sending someone in for mental evaluation, because they start fights where people are they have domestic problems a lot of times because of crime methods with interbranch actors with their police, with crimes on off campuses and with homes. They're even involved with this military family too. They're even involved with home break-ins and with larceny stuff associated with people I mentioned, also with other houses in the area, and like a people with a car that looks like the General Lee, and that's also recorded and confessed involved with the roles with undercover, and with the rackets, with the policing of the stores, and with their roles with the child sex offenders. You see, because now they've been trying to sequence shift and have people have conversations with me that never have a conversation with me in my life, in my neighborhood. But in other words, that was recorded, confessed, involved with crimes with the mother of the extended family member of the guy who died in the previous house that the new people moved into the house of. Recorded, confessed with crimes with New Britain police and with Wethersfield police involved with the Dillon, and with the courts criminally involved with them, with other foreign and domestic fake sides, because they're exploiting the same natures of criminality, database, illusion stacking, and nature demonstrates negative value nature relationships in relationship to that, and they need to have because they're knaves, they're not honest in any states and areas in relationship to all the negative value nature progressions and the torture note of that with people stacking in New York City. The natures of jobs are trained, uncharged, criminally foreign influence, delusions, raw, exploiting the outcomes associated with that in New York City. Now, those people need to pretend positive. So what do? They pretend they're against the treatments of the immigrants, little kids, and people fleeing their countries. That they don't question the integrity of. They pretend it's prejudice if you do. In other words, they need chaos, blamed on others, and blamed on selves. The breaching organized crime method entrenched here since before our founder's birth needed to keep, that's what it was designed to do, to keep everybody valuing the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures on all caused on blamed on other natures like criminal insidiousness nature. So we have states and areas, criminal insidiousness natures, roles, pretending they can be legalized criminal insidiousness nature with physical delusions as victims, but as victim predators. Tactically pseudo-educated through criminally foreign influenced sciences. That's recorded. For example, in relationship to our treatments of zoning laws and of tactically denatured relationships to nature, and of the integrity of types of experts, and especially all those involved, and not with opinions regarding people stacking in New York City and cities throughout this country at once. Negative value nature progressions that are maintained, again, through a method and knew that was going to cause negative value nature progression, and that maintained alter roles, needed to hide them and have them blamed on others. So they have Maria Vizino and others involved with Garden Street and all the shootings in there through time that could have been prevented by demonstrating the criminal justice rackets roles with CCSU and with the criminals associated with the state judicial branch offices and with their police and with this and with the police forms involved with them and with the Fianza family criminally involved with the transition from ACA to RICO and with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, and with the witness protection program associated with that, also recorded and confessed involved with police associated with FBI, various ways in my neighborhood, and other agencies. They said a Scalora family is also involved with CIA, but they're also involved with predicate acts and identity thefts and crimes with child sex offenders. And they need to pretend they know me. They also reported and confessed involved with crimes with people next to a mosque and CCSU campuses, Hartford campuses. See, these are people, especially in Hartford, regarding Weathersfield, Hartford, George Washington had to leave this year entrenched, where he both did and did not chop down. Fake branches, Connecticut. CT, cherry chick. Even if George Washington didn't say that, that's the substance of reality. That's why he left physical slavery entrenched, not because he was for that, because he wanted to counter that, but the only way to counter it was to semi-counter it. They didn't have the strength to uproot what was entrenched here. States and areas of the colonies in collusion. States and areas of the early states, of modern states left in collusion. That means they need to hurt and appreciate hurt, correlation nature, which is a trinity. And they're having this facilitated for them means to do it, because we had branches originally propagated needing to hide lipoaggressions, needing to defend their sensibilities as a gangland, as a gang. Like, in other words, pretend they have integrity, they don't. And having conversations and backgrounds about people, but they can't have it in front of their faces because they need to pretend. They, they're passing illusions, not legally the right they have to lie. They have a right to lie legally. That's to a great extent because of how they share policing, and of Russians, again, involved with crimes with WFSB. And they're recorded, with CBS, with Stephen Colbert, pretending to be against Putin, who is one person out of huge divided Russia, also recorded and confessed with Russian psychology involved with crimes with the courts of Russia and with America. See, we have the same natures of child offenders there and here. We have the same natures of infrastructural pathology recorded criminally foreign influenced, recorded causing negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, predicate acts, and criminal insidious nature defined in relationship to organized crime, criminal enterprises. See, these were juxtaposed. Criminal enterprises overt, and branches roles doing what? Blaming on others and themselves. So fake news is real. Fake news is a serious problem because there are people pretending that the criminal justice, the Department of Justice, has integrity that they know that it doesn't. And they're reliant upon other nations that don't have justice for the same reason. But it was longer there than here, so it's worse. Our nation fell last, but also to the same breaching organized crime method that forced England to be the face of Connecticut, but it wasn't alone. In other words, they were forced in relationships to wars. They control the top-down voice, but that top-down voice was extorted and forced to ignore how Spain, France, Asia, Russia, all fake, not unity nations fighting to be that, were forced to share here and there, to be policing and to be roles as criminally foreign influence, fact-shaping nature, through criminally foreign influence campus marcias, which is a value nature relationship to nature, self, nature's identity of relationship to itself that is positive or negative. Our nature has memory, semi-memory, semi/complete memory of what is positive or negative from our past empirical experience as a part of our nature, which will only stay positive unto itself. The identity of space, which not allowed to gain the volume of and the quality of fact treatment nature that is also positive unto itself, a trinity nature, here, that is forced away from here, from the identity of space that is simultaneously, non-distinctly onto all parts of itself. What's not going to gain with the perfect value progression of the phenomena of 5 semi-natures of the complete identity of space, constantly coming into temporary space nature, trinity, as forced away from here, leaf of 5Ds. Force, space, nature, transfer. Nature is identity. See, lost close returns. They must drop the force. Learns. This is very important. Making me talk. Hour and 16 minutes. And making me beg, no, to have predicate acts, child sex offender acts, responded to, encountered. In other words, these came before they put the lies about me in the paper. They did that because I caught them dead cold to rights, with sex crime acts, with identity theft crime acts, with predicate acts roles, with these groups interbranch. There's also a Carla Greca I never had anything to do with, never had a conversation in real life. She approached me on Facebook and recorded and confessed crime roles with the Scalora family. She says is in the CIA. There's also an Aiello family that recorded and confessed, has been spreading rumors and lies about me. They're not, and they implied also associated with there's an Aiello's, some kind of Aiello's tile shop or whatever, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with WFSB, with other CT media, with ad companies, also with a forensic, with Connecticut Lighting or whatever, associated with the Fienza family, and the roles with the ad companies of WFSB, also with crimes with the retired and standing police and their family members. Again, one associated with a prison in Sandy Hook, and that his family recorded and confessed involved with further crimes on off campus with the principal sex offender and with the corners of the street of that house. Also recorded and confessed with their roles with that tied to a Peruta family and to other Russian women, recorded and confessed involved with the crimes with the Leahy family and with the others with the child sex offender predicate acts roles, attaching me to fake conversations. Their recorded crimes with a Dillon family, criminally involved with that, with my new and past neighbors and the people down the street. Also recorded and confessed, in other words, that the Klotz family and the former partner of the Dillon detective and his family involved with the intermilitary identity thefts. They're also recorded with their CIA narratives and that still tied to the Fienza family crimes and with the Sal Civiello that communicated that he's involved criminally too. That Eric Jensen also recorded and confessed involved, state police involved, also criminally with them down the street, with the retired and standing Weathersfield detectives, drug cliques, military cliques with crimes with overt criminal enterprises, and with doctors, and with identity theft cliques associated with them, with haters, and within as people associated with crimes with Trinity College and with CCSU and with other colleges connected because of through time. Also, there's a Luigi Guerrera and his sister recorded and confessed involved with police forms that have their kids involved further criminally with Rocky Hill High School and with a McGee, and that name was used by 3 different officers as their roles with predicate acts with the child sex offenders cliques. In other words, Rocky Hill High School. I don't know if that there's a Guerrera guy who is with politics, see, but his daughters recorded and confessed involved with the police forms criminally involved. Also, the Gold family, a former Mayor Gold, recorded and confessed involved with mail crimes and with other natures of mentioned in further crime roles with a Aiello family, with a Kerr family, and with the corner of Griswold Street with violence, also with that spot tied to them. But the violence, I don't know who shot the thing at our window when we were driving by. In other words, one of the last times I was running, when I was jogging, this is also I'm on here tortured every day asking for counters. See, they're not letting mandated law followed. WFSB is recorded and confessed involved. And CBS is recorded and confessed involved, discrediting allegations, pretending they believe that agencies and that judges retired and standing and that police with them have integrity that they know they don't. They know that they are high predators every day in courts, and they have been through time. I just remind. So Russians are owed a lot of money, a lot of means by psychology associated with courts, just like Americans, just like Weathersfield parents. See, but they're trying to cultivate the parents into further roles because they lied to the other parents about me with WFSB, CBS. No. So we have Jon Stewart pretending he's about comedy. He's recorded not about comedy. He's criminally foreign influenced, what he says in his nature. They're furthering fake positive care against Russia and against the president because they're hiding lies from the presidents. They hid this from Barack Obama. They were recorded and confessed all kinds of crime rules with CCSU, also tied to criminal justice with Cuba, involved criminally. They have they have a Cuban guy that they made the poet laureate, and he's from Cuba. Now CCSU is a school itself recorded and confessed involved with predicate acts with people from other countries that come here for training with that, with their roles with crimes with Puerto Rico, with criminal justice, and with areas crimes. Also, Omni, a guy from a place, Omni. I never had a conversation with him. Recorded and confessed involved. I forgot the names of them. In other words, I never had anything to do with them. That's also with Puerto Rican people with the name Citron. See, Citron is a white guy associated with his daughter, married to Reno Mazzucato, which is with the Mazzucato's brothers and sister, and mother involved with Mazzucato's pastry, recorded and confessed involved with online crimes and identity theft crimes. In other words, intercity police, not just the police chief with the Mazzucato family criminally involved, with overt criminal enterprises with them, and with the courts criminally involved with them, and with the English department recorded and confessed, having had roles with their roles with narratives with people with the English department used criminally through time. Their database solution stacking to them, against people through time. We have investigators and notions of integrity that never were realized intercampuses. So there's a Demorals Market in Rocky Hill, also confessed and recorded involved with crimes with a bodega in Hartford where they used to have their store. And see, they didn't tell those people about their roles with these crimes, and they made the sale of that place. Also, the sale of a place, real or made, I don't know, on Covington Street, that apartment building, recorded and confessed involved with the fire departments criminally involved, foreign and domestic, with the child sex offenders, and with the families involved with the crimes with the Italian criminal enterprises and with the Latin criminal enterprises and with other natures of criminal enterprises reported and involved, especially the legalized ones, like with Hartford Hospital campus, the Institute of Living campus, reported and confessed involved with drug crimes with doctors' drugs, with drug crimes, with predicate acts, with extortion acts, identity theft acts, medical crime acts, crimes with judges, various natures of courts. They recorded first, and then with sequence shifting, crimes with a Judge Killian, recorded criminally involved. After. See, we need the judges in order. They keep switching names because they need to make mistakes. And they're recorded doing this with methods recorded, where they have real fast, quick fact treatment reactions, exploiting how they don't let crime acts in order told, and how they make up fake things, like things. They pretend to record things. Judge Killian also recorded, confessed, involved with crimes with recording equipment and with police equipment with them, where they also pretend people have conversations about police equipment, consciously knowing that they are criminally involved with the uses of police equipment, criminally involved with their roles as the recorded role, crime acts roles with child sex offenders further, recorded with Hartford Hospital tied to people with the Dillon family and with the Lombardo family and with the Leahy family, involved with the people with the interbranch sex offenders cliques and the military ones. This is also recorded and confessed involved with America's Cup, Harbor Park, or whatever, with people identity thefts that I never had anything to do with. Also with Jennifer Kennepicky, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with medical corruption, with other families associated with agencies and military corruption and foreign and domestic, and medical corruption with that place, Harbor Park, America's Cup, and with some FBI further in my area, not just the witness protection program and the others with the tied to the federal criminals and their kids' crimes roles with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and with the cliques with the Trade Center attacks, identity thefts, and predicate acts roles tied to the sequence shift proven in the Ninth Circuit. You see, that's tied to mail crimes, all kinds of crimes, using court cases and using prisons to hide their lie progressions. There are online crimes with databases too. So we have the policing and the narratives and the sensibilities of like Facebook and of YouTube, recorded and confessed involved with crimes with police firms in West Hartford and CCSU, and with the state judicial branch offices. Forgot what else. So let's go. Fix the fake news is very important. Stop pretending to care about immigrants when you have negative value nature progressions. You have sick fake doctors. You have sick natures of industry making a lot of money because they're hiding lie progressions. They're hiding roles with criminality every day in New York courts, every day in New York jails, every day in New York minds and mouths. Let's go. Talk about them. Pretend you're against the slavery of the South when you're worse and the same in the North. Forget about it. That was a trap they led them into next to Trinity College. It's tied to George Washington had to come here right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War. They have the crow's nest where they used to shoot people from the top of the building. In other words, and if this guy runs, they're going to shoot your family. You see what I'm saying? This is a method that was building consciously fake sides that to keep them that way. To keep fake police, hundreds of nations sharing policing as knaves, as worse than knaves, criminally foreign influence, delusions wrought, fake positive natures. Suit and tie nations, counters to it that they won't understand. That's why they never let the beginning of the Old Testament demonstrated in sequence value. They never let the beginning sequence nature of the Quran demonstrated. Changes the whole entire meaning of everything. They force the hard parts valued by the people that multi-front, by the people that but hate it too, the same movements, because it's facilitated for them. They have we have schools teaching people physical delusion with their convictions. In other words, it's not comedy to go up there and obfuscate what the network, what CBS was behind with other networks like Fox CT, like their crime rolls, record and confess with child offenders, also using the name McGee, switching the name, forging the name, involved with agencies and judges, police, and stuff like that, criminally involved. Prison clicks, criminally involved with the DMV click, criminally involved with, what is it called? The park down the street, Millwoods Park, further criminally involved with child offenders, further criminally involved with fake news, further criminally involved with the town offices with election crimes, local and national. To understand the national ones, you have to understand recorded criminal uses of the Department of Justice and of titles like Inspector General, Attorney General. They're lying to the Attorney Generals for crime methods recorded using the state police. The state's attorneys for crimes against their own people. But if you go in there and you don't have a lawyer, they're gonna attach you to fake words, fake relationships to others, sequence shifts. They're gonna break the law offensively with child sex offenders and recorded and confessed involved with crimes with Connecticut State's attorneys' offices, with Connecticut State's attorneys with the courts, switching and forging names with people in the courts, not just the judges, and sequences. These are crimes recorded tied to the clicks with the crimes with the proven sequence shift in the Trade Center, further recorded and confessed involved with crimes with the context of New York, with the DeMoro Scalora family associated with other extended family member of the McClellan family criminally involved, also with the rest of the child sex offenders. Per Bob Chase said that Phil Claus further involved criminally with them. They said a girl named Christine. There's a Christine Bedard, Christine Tardet, who recorded and confessed involved with crimes with the CBS, interbranch police, in-court, out-court of crimes and cases through time. Crime rolls with people with that Alicia and with Lena's Pizza with that. And, leading up to that, because they had interbranch police with crimes with deposition that used a Hartford court leading up to a 2006 case with defendant, former director of the FBI, and federal criminals that were his co-defendants, his lawyer, and other federal criminals that were in the audience supporting them, proven ones, recorded and confessed further with predicate actuals with them. Crime rolls leading up to that case with interbranch police, with Eric Burgess, who said he said he was gonna back me up on that, which is recorded anyways. Also Emily or Amy, recorded and confessed involved after I'd already been trying to report what Eric said he was going to let me report. Because this is also tied to Justin Klavinskis and to military police with criminal uses of Saudi girl and people with Covington Street associated with that, and with the courts criminally involved interstate, like with a Joe Aiello recorded and confessed involved with crimes with Johnny Gallucci and his family members recorded and confessed involved with the interbranch clique with the fake news and with criminal uses of their kids with the grammar schools. Tied to when I was in 6th grade, they were confessions made about a bar. I didn't understand why they were coming to me out of nowhere making confessions and or making statements about things that didn't make sense to me. That's what they do with kids. There's a Joshua Julian recorded and confessed involved with crimes with Wethersfield police and intercity police with local 230 and with overt criminal enterprises that were recorded and confessed involved with crimes with them with the principal sex offenders Facebook page and him and them spreading rumors through time about my father, pretending my father had relationships to criminal enterprises that weren't at all, because they were forced by, people go to job sites and they're forced to be working with people juxtaposed, overt criminal enterprises and other nations' police here and there. Other nations rolled shared policing of the prisons too. And they're using everything to hide their live aggressions together because they're in roles with the nature and methods of organized crime that are juxtaposed, originally still cause of 99.9% of the crimes, blamed on others and on other things, vaccines. We have 80 shootings in Hartford, Little Hartford this year, and they're not letting voices. They're recorded consciously having meetings to pretend other, to build everyone to the defenses of pseudo-positive fact treatment. They don't care about the families. If they care about the families, they want full counter to a shooting. They don't want to live in 80%. They don't want to live where the counters to it, as the ones doing it, are locking everybody up and pretending that's how they only know how to counter it. They know they are with sicker crimes and sick natures than they put people in jail for every single day. I mean, how many people get hurt by the branches in Connecticut? Not just in Hartford, not just the 80 people, the more shootings in a decade than there are streets in Hartford. More stabbings, not even counting the stabbings, even of an officer, even by a woman. So I was shooting on a stabbing. They all gang rushed. You see one kid's face clear in New York City, stabbing the person. Total hate. You could tell his whole life raised as a victim, now as a victim predator. They pulled some skinny kid out of a store. They said it was a machete. It looked like a club. I don't know. And then the other one was going. Then you see all blood. I don't know. They probably killed the kid. Because we have negative value nature progressions that are being valued, blamed on others, and all other things, vaccines. How many people they put in jail in New York City every day? They're raising it by what is recorded, consciously criminally exploiting how and why they have. In other words, if you're a labor steward of a construction site, we have construction workers involved with criminal enterprises overt. We have juxtaposed undercover policing with these criminal enterprises. Let's go. Fix the fake news. Stop pretending to be about humor. That you know that that's not humor, and that you know that you're dishonest. John Stewart Till. No, it's just the industry. Get out of here. Apologize to the people of New York City real fast. In New York, and let's go. Because these are Connecticut sex offenders with trade center crimes. Let's go.